First contact, first blood. The message burst across the stars like a dying star's final breath. Desperate, pleading, terrified. This is High Minister Vela of the Azura Confederacy. We are under attack by an unknown hostile species calling themselves the Voidborn. Our major colonies have fallen. Our weapons are ineffective. If anyone receives this message, please, we need help. In the communications hub of Earth's Orbital Defense Command, Lieutenant Maya Patil sat up straight in her chair. The message had arrived through multiple relay points, traveling across hundreds of light years through the galactic communications network Earth had only recently gained access to. "Commander," she called, "we've received a distress signal. It's not from any known human colony." Commander Jackson Way moved to her station, eyes narrowing as he listened to the translated message. The Azuri were not a species humanity had direct contact with yet. Earth had only been accepted into the Galactic Confederation 3 years earlier, still viewed with suspicion and unease by many of the older spacefaring species. "Forward this to Admiral Reeves immediately," he ordered, "and begin compiling everything we have on the Azuri and their sector." 12 hours later, the highest levels of Earth's Unified Defense Council gathered in the steel-reinforced bunker beneath Geneva. Admiral Sarah Reeves stood before the assembled military and civilian leaders, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the Azuri distress call. "The Azuri are primarily a trading species," she explained. "Their homeworld is a Category 2 planet, low gravity, minimal seasonal variation, few natural predators. They've evolved as peaceful consensus builders." "And these, Voidborn?" asked President Leo. Admiral Reeves tapped a command, and the display shifted to show fragmentary data, unknown until now. But the attack pattern matches 3 similar incidents in other sectors over the past 5 years. All targeted peaceful species. All resulted in near-extinction events. The council members exchanged troubled glances. "The Galactic Confederation has sent observers and diplomatic envoys," Reeves continued, her tone making clear her opinion of such measures. "They're still assessing the situation. Meanwhile, the Azuri are dying." President Leo leaned forward. "What exactly are you proposing, Admiral?" "We send the Third Fleet, Captain Chen's battle group." The room erupted in overlapping voices. "Our newest ships. We've barely tested the Thanatos-class destroyers in. We'll leave Earth vulnerable." Admiral Reeves waited for the noise to subside. "The Third Fleet consists of our most advanced vessels, 7 Thanatos-class destroyers, and the carrier TSS Nemesis. The Azuri are 8 weeks away at maximum FTL. If we wait for the Confederation to act, there won't be any Azuri left to save." She paused, looking each council member in the eye. "More importantly, this is precisely why humanity built these ships. We knew that one day we'd encounter something out there that doesn't understand diplomacy, something that only understands strength." Defense Minister Okoye nodded slowly. "The Confederation has labeled us as dangerous, unpredictable. They call Earth a death world like it's an insult. Today," Reeves said, "we show them why Deathworlders are exactly what the galaxy needs." The vote took less than 5 minutes. Captain Alina Chen stood on the bridge of the TSS Nemesis, watching her crew prepare for what would be humanity's first interstellar combat mission. The massive carrier, nearly 3 kilometers long, was the pride of Earth's fleet, a vessel designed by creatures who had evolved on a world that had tried to kill them at every turn. Humanity's entry into galactic society had been complicated. Most spacefaring species had evolved on gentle worlds with predictable environments and limited threats. Their physiologies and psychologies reflected those origins: cooperation over competition, diplomacy over confrontation. Humans, by contrast, had clawed their way to sentience on a world of predators, natural disasters, and constantly shifting survival challenges. Earth's high gravity gave its children dense muscles and strong bones. Its diverse biosphere, filled with toxins, pushed humans to develop robust immune and digestive systems. Its predators made humans into endurance hunters with unparalleled pattern recognition. The Confederation called Earth a death world. Its inhabitants were regarded with equal parts fascination and fear. All systems prepared for FTL jump, Captain, reported Commander Devi Sharma. Her XO. The fleet is in formation and awaiting your command. Chen nodded, brushing a strand of black hair from her face. Send a message to Earth. Operation Sanctuary is underway. She looked at the view screen, at the stars that would soon blur into streaks of light. Let's show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do. The Azuri homeworld of Lumina hung in space like a jewel, its azure oceans reflecting its sun's light. Or it would have, if not for the orbiting voidborne vessels that cast long shadows across its surface. From the damaged observation post where High Minister Vela and what remained of the Azuri leadership had taken refuge, the scene was one of apocalyptic scale. The voidborne ships were massive, irregular structures that resembled nothing so much as drifting islands of black stone shot through with pulsing red veins. They had appeared without warning at the edges of Azuri space 2 months earlier, destroying outposts and colonies methodically as they approached the Azuri homeworld. The northern continent has fallen, reported Sub-Minister Terrell, his normally luminescent skin dull with exhaustion. The central defense shield is failing. At current rates, it will collapse within 26 hours. Vela's 4 arms wrapped around herself, a gesture of profound distress in Azuri culture. Any response to our distress calls? The Confederation has sent observers, Terrell replied, unable to keep the bitterness from his voice. They're gathering information from a safe distance. So we die while they watch. Vela turned away from the observation window. Prepare the evacuation ships. We'll try to save as many of our young as we. An alert chimed, drawing their attention back to the main display. Something was happening at the edge of the system. Multiple energy signatures had appeared, arranged in a formation that suggested intelligent design rather than natural phenomena. More voidborne? Vela asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Terrell studied the readings. No, different configuration. Different energy signatures. They're moving toward the voidborne fleet at high velocity. On the display, 8 objects resolved into clear view. 7 smaller vessels in a protective formation around a much larger central ship. They weren't Confederation designs. Those favored elegant organic curves. These were angular, utilitarian, bristling with what were unmistakably weapon emplacements. Who are they? Vela wondered aloud. As if in answer, a communication signal reached their post, translated automatically by their systems. This is Captain Elena Chen of the Earth vessel TSS Nemesis to Azura Command. We receive your distress call. Hold your position. Help has arrived. The Voidborn had never encountered resistance. Not real resistance. The species they preyed upon were peaceful, their weapons designed for defense rather than offense, their tactics centered around buying time to evacuate rather than counterattack. The first Voidborn scout to encounter the human fleet approached with the confidence of an apex predator. It fired its neural disruptor, a weapon that had paralyzed countless victims across multiple species, at the lead destroyer. On the bridge of the TSS Thanatos, Commander James Rodriguez gritted his teeth as the weapon's effects washed over the ship. Crew members winced, several clutched their heads, but no one fell. No one died. Neural weapon, the ship's tactical officer reported, attempting to overload our nervous systems. Rodriguez allowed himself a grim smile. Evolved on a death world, remember. Our nervous systems are built to handle pain. He looked at the tactical display, where the Voidborn scout maintained position, likely confused by the ineffectiveness of its attack. Target their primary power node, Rodriguez ordered. Let's show them what real weapons can do. The Thanatos' main guns fired, concentrated beams of energy that cut through the Voidborn ship's outer hull like it was paper. The alien vessel shuddered, its red veins flaring briefly before going dark. A secondary explosion tore it apart from within. Scratch one hostile, Rodriguez reported to the Nemesis. Their neural weapons sting a bit, but they're not incapacitating to humans. On the Nemesis, Captain Chen processed this information with growing confidence. All ships, advance to engagement range. Target voidborne vessels nearest to the Azuri defense shield. Let's pull their attention away from the planet. The human fleet accelerated, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. Ahead of them, the main voidborne fleet was beginning to react, ships peeling away from their siege positions to meet this unexpected threat. Chen studied the tactical display, noting the voidborne's movements. They were used to terror tactics against helpless opponents, not coordinated military response. Their formation was sloppy, overconfident. "They've never fought predators before," she murmured. Then, louder. "All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. Weapons free." The 7 destroyers broke formation, arcing away from the Nemesis in a practiced maneuver that presented multiple attack vectors. As the Voidborn attempted to concentrate on one threat, others would strike from different angles. The space around Lumina erupted in weapons fire as humanity announced itself to the galaxy not with words, but with the language of war that Earth's harsh evolution had taught them all too well. From the Azuri observation post, High Minister Vela watched in stunned silence as the newcomers, these humans, engaged the seemingly unstoppable Voidborn. For the first time in months, she felt something stir within her. Hope. Deathworlders unleashed. The void of space lit up with weapons fire as the human fleet engaged the Voidborn armada. On the bridge of the TSS Nemesis, Captain Alina Chen watched the tactical display with focused intensity. The 7 Thanatos-class destroyers under her command wove through the enemy formation with precision that belied their massive size, each targeting the organic-looking Voidborn vessels with devastating effect. Thanatos 3 reporting direct hit on enemy capital ship, Commander Sharma announced, her voice steady despite the occasional neural weapon impact that sent sharp pains through everyone's skulls. Voidborn vessel is disabled and drifting. Chen nodded. Tell Rodriguez to finish it off and move to the next target. The battle had been raging for 3 hours, and Chen was beginning to understand the Voidborn's tactics, or rather, their lack thereof. They relied almost exclusively on their neural disruptors, weapons that had proven catastrophically effective against most galactic species, but merely painful to humans. When those failed, the Voidborn seemed almost confused, their formations breaking apart as they tried to regroup and reconsider. "They're predators who've never been hunted," Chen observed aloud. "They don't know how to react to resistance." A massive impact rocked the Nemesis, causing the bridge lights to flicker momentarily. "Direct hit to our starboard armor," reported Lieutenant Marcus Okafor from the damage control station. "Armor holding at 84%. Chen's eyes narrowed. The Voidborn were learning then. They'd realized their neural weapons were ineffective and had switched to more conventional attacks. "Status of the Azuri defense shield?" she asked. "Holding steady at 42% capacity," Sharma replied. "The Voidborn have diverted most of their forces to engage us." Good. That was the plan. Chen studied the tactical display, where the largest Voidborn vessel, nearly twice the size of the others, hung back from the main battle. That's their command ship. They're coordinating from there. She tapped a command into her console, bringing up a fleet-wide communication channel. "All ships, this is Captain Chen. The Voidborn are adapting to our presence, but they're still disorganized. We've drawn their attention away from Lumina, but we need to press our advantage before they can regroup." She paused, making her decision. "Thanatos Group, continue engaging the hostiles near the planet. Nemesis will target their command vessel. Let's cut the head off this snake." The acknowledgments came in quickly as the destroyers adjusted their formation, creating a protective screen between the Voidborn and the Azuri homeworld. The Nemesis broke formation, accelerating toward the massive Voidborn command ship. "Inform the Azuri we're targeting the Voidborn command structure," Chen ordered, "and prepare all fighter squadrons for launch." High Minister Vela couldn't tear her gaze away from the tactical display, showing the ongoing battle. These humans, creatures the Azuri had never met before, were fighting with a ferocity and skill that bordered on terrifying. The largest human vessel is moving toward the Voidborn mothership, Sub-Minister Terrell reported, his skin beginning to regain some of its luminescence as hope returned. They're launching smaller craft, hundreds of them. Vela watched as tiny specks emerged from the human carrier, swarming toward the Voidborn command ship like insects, but insects armed with deadly stings. They say they're from a planet called Earth, Terrell continued. I've accessed the Confederation database. Earth is classified as a Category 12 death world. Vela turned to him in shock. Category 12. I didn't know the scale went that high. It usually doesn't. Their gravity is nearly twice what we're evolved for. Their world experiences extreme weather events, has multiple apex predators, and the humans themselves develop through constant warfare. Terrell's voice held a mixture of awe and fear. The Confederation has been concerned about their entry into galactic society. Vela looked back at the display, where human fighters were now swarming the Voidborn mothership, precise strikes targeting key systems with surgical precision. Right now, she said softly, I'm very glad they're concerned about us instead. Major Layla Kassim led Dragon Squadron through the chaotic space around the Voidborn command ship, her fighter weaving between massive organic-looking protrusions that resembled nothing so much as twisted bone and sinew. Target the pulsing nodes, she instructed her pilots. Looks like those are power relays or nerve centers. The 12 fighters of Dragon Squadron broke into pairs, each targeting a different section of the massive alien vessel. Unlike the elegant ships of the Confederation or the utilitarian designs of Earth's fleet, the Voidborn craft seemed almost grown rather than built, its hull an irregular mass of black material shot through with glowing red channels. Kassim's targeting computer locked onto one such node, and she unleashed a barrage of high-energy plasma bolts. The node ruptured, spewing a viscous fluid into space before the vacuum froze it into crystalline fragments. Confirmed hit, reported her wingman, Lieutenant Alvarez. That section is going dark. A wave of energy pulsed from the Voidborn ship, and Kassim gritted her teeth as pain lanced through her skull. The neural weapon was stronger here, closer to the source, but still not debilitating. They're getting desperate, she muttered, banking her fighter to avoid a piece of debris. All pilots, press the attack. Our nervous systems can handle more punishment than their ship can. Dragon Squadron redoubled their efforts, targeting node after node across the Voidborn vessel's surface. With each successful strike, sections of the enormous ship went dark, the red veins fading to black. On the command deck of the Nemesis, Captain Chen watched the fighter assault with satisfaction. The Voidborn command ship is losing power, Sharma reported. Their coordination is breaking down. Chen nodded. Bring us into main weapons range. Let's finish this. The massive carrier maneuvered into position, its forward batteries aligning with the now vulnerable Voidborn mothership. As Dragon Squadron and the other fighter wings pulled back to safety, the Nemesis unleashed its full arsenal. Blinding beams of energy lanced out, cutting deep into the alien vessel's core. Secondary explosions rippled along its surface as internal systems failed catastrophically. The massive ship began to break apart, great chunks of its structure tearing away as whatever force had held it together faltered and died. All fighters, return to bay, Chen ordered. Send a message to the remaining Voidborn vessels. Surrender or follow your command ship into oblivion. The surrender never came. Whether from inability to communicate, lack of the concept, or simple refusal, the remaining Voidborn ships did not yield. Instead, they fought with increasing desperation until, one by one, they were reduced to drifting wreckage by the human fleet. 3 days after the battle ended, Captain Chen stood in the observation lounge of the Nemesis, looking down at the planet Lumina. Repair crews were working to restore the Azuri defense shield to full capacity, and medical teams had been dispatched to assist with casualties. The doors slid open, and High Minister Villa entered, accompanied by Commander Sharma. The Azuri leader's skin glowed with bright blue pulses, a sign of strong emotion, Chen had learned. Captain Chen, Vela said, her translator converting the musical Azuri language to standard English. My people owe you a debt we can never repay. Chen shook her head. No debt necessary, Minister. We responded to your call for help, as any decent civilization would. But many didn't, Vela pointed out. The Confederation sent observers and diplomats. You sent warriors. Earth understands what it means to fight for survival. Chen replied simply. It's in our history, in our DNA. We couldn't stand by while another species faced extinction. Vela's four arms performed a complex gesture that Chen's cultural briefing had explained represented profound respect. The Confederation fears you, the Azuri leader said. They call you Deathworlders, as if it were something shameful. They worry about your capacity for violence, your physical resilience, your unpredictability. And what do you think, Minister? Chen asked. Vela looked out at her homeworld, still scared but no longer under threat. I think the galaxy needs predators who choose to protect rather than consume. I think sometimes strength must be met with greater strength. Her skin pulsed with determination. I think the Azuri Confederacy would be honored to call Earth an ally. Chen smiled. I think we'd like that too. The door slid open again, and Lieutenant Okafor entered. Captain, we've received a transmission from the Galactic Confederation. Their representatives are requesting permission to board. Chen and Vela exchanged knowing glances. Now they come, the Azuri leader said with what sounded almost like a laugh. Better late than never, Chen replied. Tell them they're welcome aboard, Lieutenant. I think it's time the Confederation learned what Deathworlders are really capable of, both in war and in peace. Word of the Battle of Lumina spread quickly through the galactic communication networks. The footage, recorded by Azuri observation posts and the Confederation's distant monitoring vessels, played across 1,000 worlds. It showed human ships standing against overwhelming odds. It showed human fighters executing maneuvers that most species would find physically impossible due to G-forces. It showed human crews continuing to fight effectively, despite neural weapons that would have incapacitated any other species. But most importantly, it showed humans fighting not for conquest, not for resources, but to protect a species they had never even met. In the chambers of the Confederation Council, heated debates raged about the implications. Some counselors pointed to the battle as evidence that humans were too dangerous to be trusted with advanced technology. Others argued that humanity had proven itself a necessary counterbalance to threats the Confederation was ill-equipped to handle. On Earth, the returning fleet received a hero's welcome. President Leo stood before the United Nations, the fleet commanders at her side, as she addressed not just humanity but the galaxy at large. Her words transmitted via the Confederation networks to all member worlds. For too long, the term Deathworlder has been used to marginalize and fear us, she declared. But what happened at Lumina proves what we have always known. The challenges that forged humanity did not make us monsters. They made us strong. They made us resilient. And they taught us the value of standing up for those who cannot stand for themselves. She paused, looking directly into the cameras. To the Confederation and all galactic species, humanity does not seek war. We seek partnership. We seek friendship. But make no mistake, we will fight when fighting is necessary. We will protect those who need protection. And we will stand against any threat to peaceful coexistence among the stars. In her quarters aboard the Nemesis, still undergoing repairs in Earth orbit, Captain Alina Chen watched the address with a small smile. On her desk sat a gift from High Minister Vela, a crystal that glowed with the same blue light as Azuri skin, inscribed with words in both their languages. When darkness came, the Deathworlders answered with light. Chen turned to look out her viewport at the stars beyond. The galaxy was a dangerous place, perhaps more dangerous than even humans had imagined. But for the first time, some of those dangers had learned to fear something in return. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and the stars themselves would never be the same.